Hey, what is happening, Bulls and Bears? Back with another dose of economic reality. It is Saturday. Back with another dose here. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's start right here. The economy continues to implode, and we're talking about the Main Street economy, the average person, the working person, the middle class. Now, when you get up to the top 10%, that particular group is doing better than ever. And in fact, they're going to have a big surge in income when we really start seeing everything hit the fan later this year. We saw it last time. We saw the wealthy got even wealthier during the 2020 chaos, during the 07-08 financial crisis. The wealthy always seem to get wealthier during these times of market turning events, corrections, housing bubble going bust, stuff like that. All these different corrections and events and situations. The rich always seem to get richer, don't they? They buy up assets when prices drop. They invest in assets when prices are down, so they ride the wave up. And we need to be ready for it. We need to be on the right side of this by keeping on top of all the news, right? So if you're not already subscribed, please make sure you are subscribed. And we're going to ride this storm together. Will it be a bad storm? Will we get wet? Will we get hail? Will hail come down and knock us in the head? Well, I hope not. Hopefully the storm won't be that bad since we're on top of the news here. Let's get into this here right now, though. National debt rising by $1 trillion every 100 days, folks. That's like $3 trillion a year. This is going to blow away any previous 8-year period or even 4-year period, depending on which person you want to talk about. And by the way, I think they're all puppets, by the way. But $1 trillion every 100 days, let's say $3 trillion a year. Let's say we have someone in office for 4 years. That's $12 trillion in 4 years. Even the previous presidents only ran up about 8 trillion. I say only, that's enormous, but about 8 trillion during their tenures. So this could double what any previous puppet has ran up during the time they've been in office, right? So just as we talked about here, the amount of debt they have to throw at this economy just to keep things functional, just to keep everything from imploding, is it's just enormous. And you have to wonder, how long can the U.S. dollar's value hang in there, especially when you have a bunch of other countries, the BRICS nations countries, BRICS plus, because there's so many more countries joining the ranks all the time for the BRICS nations. You have to wonder how much longer until we see a massive implosion in the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar. And that's why I've always said here, brace for inflation, because if we don't see the market crash or price declines that many people expect, because many people, they think 2008 is going to repeat itself all over again. The talking point that somehow this economy is wonderful, I mean, I don't think anybody believes that, or anybody here on this channel. But the sad part is, even though most of you know what's going on, probably all of you, 99%, the general population, probably 1%, maybe not even that, knows what's actually going on, what kind of shenanigans are happening behind the scenes just to keep everything seeming normal, right? So they have to throw more and more debt at this, so more people do not realize what is happening. The banks loaning out money they don't have. They don't have to have any money in reserves. We've got this emergency funding program, the bank term funding program that's supposed to expire this month. We'll see in about a little more than 1 week if it actually does expire. And even if it does, the banks don't have to pay it back right away. So you may not see anything happen, this month, this quickly. Now, that's just one part of it. There's a lot of other things that could break and, send this whole economy down the tubes very, very quickly. So always be on the lookout for that. Be ready for that. But I don't want to put out here and say, okay, something's going to happen by this date, that date, because I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment if you try to pick dates, because never before has a date been predetermined and everything that's happened before been expected, right? So when something happens, it's usually a big surprise. It usually pops out of nowhere, and it's usually something that nobody expected, right? So be on the lookout just for chaos. But at the same time, keep stacking, keep getting ready for what we've got coming down the road here. But a few more things I wanted to get into. The median 401k balance for ages is much lower than expected for all ages. And this is out of Benzinga. 50-year-olds barely have enough for a new car. Age 50 plus. Let's bring this up here. Recent article out of Benzinga. So even age 50 plus and even retirement age 65, they only have an average of about $70,000 saved up. How long is $70,000 going to save you, or not save you? How long is it going to last you in retirement? And that's not per year. That's how much total on average they have saved. Of course, some are higher, some are lower, but it's not very much, folks. The cost of living continuing to go up here. This is not looking good for a lot of people. I see a lot of bankruptcies headed at us in the very not too distant future. Now, I'm probably the only channel out here telling people that there wasn't going to be a busting of some of these bubbles, the housing bubble in particular. Um, you're seeing some price corrections, but certainly nothing like 2008. A lot of people are expecting 2008 to happen all over again. For that to happen, you have to have a systemic freeze up in the lending. And that's when you'll see prices come down, because most of what's happening right now, most of the price increases, if you look over the last 10, 15 years, the housing market, the stock market, a lot of it is borrowed money. It's borrowed money, making the cost of living go up, making these asset prices go up. So continue to brace for that. Delinquencies keep going up in the car loans here. We've got some recent numbers out here out of Detroit Free Press. Automobile delinquencies continuing to get worse, exactly what we talked about here. These are things that are obvious. If the economy, meaning the Main Street economy, was doing better instead of getting worse, you would see people paying off debt, people getting out of debt. You would see delinquencies dropping. And keep in mind, even when the economy was doing good, when people were getting out of debt, that was coming out of the housing bubble. Ever since then, it's been a dramatic increase in debt. And, the system with the banks right now, the way they can loan out money, that's how they're going to try to keep this bubble propped up. All right, so be ready, folks. And we've got a big turning point coming up here, I think, in the very near future as well. I don't want to put timelines on it, so be ready for anything at any time. But we're going into an all digital system as far as I can see, and they're going to try to get rid of paper or physical currency, even coins. They don't want people transacting in coins or anything physical. They want you locked into a digital system where they can basically control, track, and trace everything that you do. It's going to be a nightmare. So that's one thing that I'm very concerned about, that I see coming up in the very near future, that I would hope does not get implemented. And in order for that not to be implemented, we're going to have some sort of crash. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if we don't have some sort of crash in the system where systemically the entire banking system goes down and people have to barter and trade, if that doesn't happen, unfortunately, we're headed towards this all digital system, central bank digital currency, all digital, trace, track, and monitor everything that we do. It's going to be a nightmare, folks. There are some economists out there now saying there's not going to be any rate cuts. They're saying that inflation is going to start ramping up so badly that even the central bankers that want to cut rates are not going to be able to justify cutting rates, because even the average person, the 99% outside of this channel, but 99% that has no idea what's going on, even those people are going to be scratching their heads saying, wait a second, why is everything still costing so much? We had this Inflation Reduction Act. We had, all these people telling us inflation was slowing, even though the rate of increase in the cost of living was slowing, but prices weren't coming down. Like, again, so many people believed that whole talking point. It's pretty sad. Pretty sad what most people believe. And I talked to plenty of those people myself, just in my everyday dealings, out with the public here, and people I speak with, through my job. Zuckerbucks, let's talk about what he's been doing. He's been hoarding gold. And there's an article here, Gold Rush, Zuckerbucks, we're talking about Mark Zuckerbucks, doomsday prepping, that's what they're calling it, hoarding gold. And we also know he's building an emergency shelter in Hawaii. Bank insiders, Jamie Dimon, Buffett sitting on the most cash that he's been sitting on, I think, in forever, over at least over the last 10, 20 years. What's going on? What do these people see headed down the pipeline, folks? Look at the numbers. Things aren't looking like they're improving. So continue to get ready for something big to drop. If not, continue for more and more inflation. Either way, we might have a challenging road ahead of us. Unless you're ultra prepared, I wouldn't even consider myself ultra prepared. I'm pretty prepared, but not ultra prepared. I'm in California, so how prepared can I be? I don't have to worry about freezing to death. That's one of the pluses. But a lot of other things to worry about here, and probably in all 50 states. I mean, there's no safe, there's no place that's 100% safe. Put it that way. Where are you at? Do you feel like you're in the best place for this to go down? If you do end up having to barter and trade, if the entire banking system implodes, please let me know where you're at and how you feel about your situation. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Or do you wish you're out here in California with me? I'm joking. Maybe. All right. Have a good day, folks. I'm going to wrap this one up. Keep stacking, as always. Big love. Make sure you're subscribed. Come back for more. Peace.